The Caribbean Sea seethes with tension. Warships slice through turquoise waves, fighter jets roar in defiance, and a region of stunning beauty braces for conflict. It's 10:50 to p.m. PKT, September 24, 2025, and the Caribbean is a crucible where Venezuela's resolve clashes with America's might. This isn't just a power play, it's a saga of human fear, pride, and survival. Strap in. The story is explosive. Picture Mariana Lopez, a 39-year-old fishmonger in Puerto La Cruz, Venezuela, her hands trembling as she sorts her catch under a dim street lamp. Her radio crackles with news of U.S. destroyers prowling 100 miles offshore, their radar sweeping her coast like a predator stare. Her son, 17, drills with the militia, trading school for a Kalashnikov. Mariana's heart pounds, fear for her boy, rage at the Yankees who sank her brother's boat. In Puerto Rico, Ensign Diego Salazar, 24, a Navy radar operator, scans the horizon from a warship, his Venezuelan-born mother's plea echoing, "Don't lose your soul, their story's raw." Visceral pulse through a region on the edge, the spark ignites with the USS Stockdale, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. Gliding through the Panama Canal on September 21, 2025, this $2.1 billion war machine, named for Vice Admiral James Stockdale, a Vietnam POW hero, mounts 96 Mk-41 vertical launch cells, 30 Tomahawk missiles with 1,550-mile range, and 1,000-pound warheads, 48 SM-6 missiles for 240-mile air defense, 16 ASROC rockets for 12-mile submarine hunts. It's an SPY-6V1 radar tracks 100 targets across 120 miles. Since with Aegis Baseline 10 for multi-threat engagement. Captain Elena Vargas, 42, a Latina from Miami, commands its 312 crew. Her resolve anchored by a photo of her daughter. "We're choking the drug pipeline," she says, targeting the Tren de Aragua cartel, linked to 97,000 U.S. overdose deaths in 2024, 72% via Venezuelan ports, per D estimates. The Stockdale spearheads a flotilla of 9 warships, a force unseen since the 1960 Cuban Missile Crisis. The USS Lake Erie, a Ticonderoga-class cruiser, wields an SPY-1B radar and 120 launch cells, coordinating via Link 16 data links. The USS Iwo Jima, a 40,500-ton Wasp-class amphibious assault ship, carries 2,100 Marines, 14 MV to Ospreys, 8 F-35B stealth fighters with an APG-81 radar and 450-mile combat radius, 5 CH-53K helicopters, and 9 landing craft. The USS Minneapolis-St. Paul, a Freedom-class littoral combat ship, zips at 47 knots with a 57mm Mk-110 gun, 20 for AGM-11 for L Hellfire missiles, and 2 MH-60R Seahawks. The USS Jason Dunham, another Arleigh Burke destroyer, mounts a Harpoon anti-ship missiles and to 20mm Phalanx CIWS. 3 Independence-class trimarans USS Manchester, Indianapolis, Tulsa at 44 knots, each with 16 Naval Strike missiles and MQ-8C Fire Scout drones. The USS Billings, a Freedom-class ship, adds a 30mm Bushmaster cannon. This armada, deployed under President Trump's July 2025 executive order designating cartels as terrorist entities, targets narco routes fueling a $50 billion U.S. drug crisis. On September 2nd, a SM-6 from the Jason Dunham vaporized a go-fast boat 140 miles off La Guaira, killing 13 alleged smugglers, per the Pentagon. In Caracas's Catia Barrio, families mourn them as fishermen, torching tires in protest. On September 16th, a Hellfire from the Minneapolis-St. Paul sank a vessel 175 miles off Rupa, yielding 445 kilos of cocaine, per Dominican Navy logs. Barbados Foreign Minister Kerry Simmons warns, "Our islands risk becoming collateral damage." Trinidad's Prime Minister Keith Rowley backs the U.S., citing narco-terrorism, but Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness, on September 20th, demands a UN summit, fearing a 25% tourism drop. The Bahamas and Belize align with Washington. St. Lucia and Antigua push neutrality, per CARICOM's September 22nd statement. Venezuela's counterstroke is Operation Sovereign Caribbean 2025, launched September 18th on La Orquilla, a volcanic islet 160 kilometers from Caracas. It deploys 3,100 troops, 1,400 Army, 900 Navy, 800 militia, 16 warships, and 28 aircraft. The centerpiece, 23 Sukhoi Su-30MK jets, each with Takei H-31A Krypton missiles. Acquired 2006 to 2009 for $1.9 billion, 7 Lupo-class frigates, including F-21 Almirante Jose Maria Blanco, lead the Navy. Backed by 9 Pavzi-class patrol boats and 40 militia launches wooden skiffs with DSHK 12.7mm guns. And RPG-7S, General Domingo Hernandez, 59, commands, declaring, "Our seas are our lifeblood," on September 21st. 250 militia fishermen like Jose Ramirez, 33, from Cumana drill swarm tactics. Their boat scrawled with Libertad o Muerte. Jose, a father of 4, whispers, "For my family's honor," his hand steadying an RPG despite his fear. Venezuela's economy, shattered by sanctions, drives this defiance. Oil production, 825,000 barrels daily from PDVSA's Amue. Cardon and Bajo Grande rigs faces U.S. MQ-9 Reaper flyovers, with 18 rigs reporting drone sightings since July, per PDVSA logs. Hyperinflation hit 1,600% in 2024. 82% of Venezuelans live below $2 daily, per Incovi 2024. Maduro's regime, shaken by July 2025's elections, mobilizes to 0.7 million militia, 25% women, 18% under 25. Defection surge. 1,800 soldiers fled to Colombia and Brazil by September 18, per UNHCR, but loyalty burns in others, like Captain Ana Torres, 28, and Su-30 pilot. Her father died in a 2019 blackout. Her jet is her vengeance. We'll soar or die, she vows, her rosary tucked into her flight suit. Puerto Rico's Roosevelt Roads Naval Station, reactivated September 13, ships the chessboard. Shuttered in 2000 for after BRAC, its 8,600 acres now home. 12 F-35BS from VMF-A to the 5, 6 C-17 Globemasters, and 850 local hires restore runways. Fuel tanks and TPS-80 radars. Siva's mayor, Samuel Rivera, touts a $150 million economic boost, but grocer Carmen Ortiz, 54, fears war. My mother served here in 75, she says, watching a C-130 land at the base, 1,185 miles from Caracas, supports 36-hour strike cycles, with 1,500 tons of fuel, 600 tons of munitions, and 200 Joint Special Operations Command troops, including SEAL Team 6, Verdad leaks. It hosts the E-D Hawkeye aircraft, extending radar 340 miles. The skies are a battleground. MQ-9 Reaper streamed for 1,000 video to Norfolk, detecting 92% of surface vessels within 210 miles. P-8A Poseidons from this Jacksonville, with 130 sonobuoys and APY-10 radar. Hun Venezuela's to Type 109 subs. F-35BS, with 2,000 to 100-pound Joint Strike Missiles and AIM-1 to OM ROMs, ensure air superiority. Pilots like Lieutenant Sofia Rivera, 27, a Puerto Rican, grapple with heritage her cousin fled Maracaibo in 2020. On September 4th, 2 Venezuelan F-16 as 1980s vintage AIM-9L Sidewinders buzzed the USS Jason Dunham at 320 feet, 165 miles off Bonaire, a pilot salute on Fleur. On September 8th, a Venezuelan patrol boat fired warning shots near the USS Tulsa, 120 miles off Curea, escalating risks. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro pledges Bolivarian solidarity, but deploys 7,000 troops to La Guajira after U.S. threats to cut $3 billion in trade. Guyana, fearing Venezuela's executive claim 159,500 square kilometers. 15% of Guyana's GDP hosts 150 U.S. Green Barretts and RAF Typhoons. Per September 15th, ex-post global players fuel the fire. Russia, per task on September 12th, shipped 30 KH-31s $25 million to Venezuela, countering U.S. Javelin supplies to Ukraine. China's Global Times on September 18 decries U.S. imperialism, eyeing Venezuela's 300 billion barrels of oil reserves. Iran's Quds Force, per Mossad leaks, sent 18 trainers to La Orquilla, teaching Orlan-10 drone tactics. The UN Security Council on September 23, deadlocks France, UK, and Japan back U.S. counter-narcotics. Russia, China, and Algeria block sanctions. CARICOM splits. The Bahamas, Belize, and Dominica support Washington. Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Grenada demand neutrality, citing $1.5 billion in tourism losses. Cuba, on September 19, hosts Russian corvette Volga-Donsk, signaling Havana's alignment with Caracas. Environmental stakes rise. Venezuela's oil rigs, 20% within 50 miles of La Orquilla, risk spills from misfired missiles. Per Greenpeace warnings, a 2010 PDVSA leak killed 15,000 marine species. Caribbean fisheries, 60% depleted since 2015 per FAO. Face collapse. Venezuela's 14,000 boats dropped to 40% capacity. Barbados catch falls 35%. Tourism craters. Aruba's hotels hit 25% occupancy, losing $90 million. Curaçao's cruise traffic drops 40%. Per Playa. Drug interdictions, costing the U.S. $48 billion in 2024, drive the cycle. Trump secure the hemisphere speech on September 10th rallying Ohio. And Florida voters hit by opioids. The human toll cuts deepest. In Camana, Rosa Perez, 66, buries her grandson, killed September 2nd. He fished for us, she sobs, clutching his net. In San Juan, Diego's sister, Clara, 30, a teacher, prays via FaceTime, don't die for their fight. In La Guaira, militiawoman Elena Gomez, 25, a single mother, trains with an AK-47, her toddler's photo in her pocket. I fight for her future, she says, eyes fierce. In Ciba, vendor Miguel Santos, 50, sells empanadas near Roosevelt Roads. Torn between $200 weekly earnings and fear of airstrikes. War pays, but at what cost? He mutters. As midnight looms, Captain Vargas on the Stockdale watches radar pings. Her daughter's drawing her anchor. We're saving our home, she tells her crew, voice steady, heart heavy. On La Orquilla, Ana Torres lands her Su-30, stars mirroring her resolve. We stand unbroken, she swears, fist raised. The Caribbean, a paradise on the precipice, waits. Truce or cataclysm? Subscribe now. Click join us because the next wave could rewrite history.